Hi, I'm Dr. Gemma, and welcome back to Cognitive, the Knitting Psychology podcast. Cheerfully and somewhat irregularly in business since 2008. Segments today may include what's on my hooks, needles, and spindles, a strategy, something I really like, put a lid on it, oh shoot, and blather. So sit back, put your feet up, pick up your knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving, or dyeing, or any other yarny thing you're doing, and get ready to enjoy. Well, hello there, it's Dr. Gemma, and this is episode 260 of the Cognitive Podcast News Series. This one's called Pouring because it's been pouring rain for days here, not something I get to say a lot. I couldn't help it. I put a weather map as my lead picture in the blog. And it's because you needed to see that giant weather system rolling over us. By the way, the blog, where you can leave comments, is at cognitivepodcast.blogspot.com, or you can leave your comments on our page on Ravelry. These are always welcome. But have a good look at our weather map, will you? And then feel warm and fuzzy. In the warm thanks department, well, thank you, Elaine of DC Elaine Knits, because she did an episode save. Apparently, episode 259, I just think I dragged the wrong file, the one down from the actual file I needed to. So y'all got like 1:47 of the theme or something. At any rate, Elaine was the first one to let me know. So please go delete your episode 259 and try downloading it again, and it should come through just fine. Thank you, Elaine. Sage Pecos, hello, my Finch buddy. Yes, I am wildly enjoying the doodle stuff, and I hope you do too. Sustainable Living is joining us at CFR 11.5, and she points out, I just cooked with capers, only I used homemade. In season, I collect a bunch of nasturtium seeds and turn them into fake capers. They really make a dish special. I love nasturtia, so I have to try this sometime. Thank you for the hint, Sustainable. And as always, I'd like to thank my communities on Finch, on Reddit, on the ground, in the SCV, in the AV, and most of all, in this group. You can see a picture of my two burbs. They are snoozing in Cairo. Why you would sit in the middle of the street in the middle of the day and snooze in Cairo, hard to say, but they're burbs. Okay, and next to that, can you tell I'm going fast? Because I'm exhausted. It is Thursday night, November 20th at 7:11 p.m. I got to try to edit this tomorrow and get it out for Saturday. I'm wiped. It's been a crazy week. But I do want you to know, there is a link to the information that is currently about Cognitive Fiber Retreat 11.5. That is on February 7th, 2026. This will take you to our Ravelry group and take you to the information thread. If you'd like to register, please use PayPal to send me $10. The address is in the show notes. The payment is due at time of registration. It is not refundable. And you can sign up right now. Beneath that in the show notes, you can see our links. An important one from Loretta 1031, and that is that she accepts donations for her crocheting club for school kids. And she will tell you in that link what exactly she would like you to donate. I also have a link to my own post, the information on what you will find at the Michaels that is right up the road from our CFR 11.5 hotel. So you can see there's embroidery and sewing equipment there. And I can't stop carrying Drew Caitlin's excellent link for Blackwork resources. They're all still there. Go look. Meanwhile, you're probably saying, hey, Gemma, what is on your hooks and needles? Why, yes, Gemma, you are talking rapidly. Let's see if we can bring it down a notch. First, I finished the Virgo sweater. It came out very, very nicely. I didn't know what to do, as I keep telling you, with the rather uneven tension where the yoke would be if I put in a Fair Isle yoke. One of my patients solved that for me. I threw that baby on the next day. I didn't even block it. She said, wow, I'm a knitter. How did you get that wonderful puckering across the yoke? And I said, what? And she said, well, it looks intentional and it looks really cool. She said, could you show me how you did that? And I went, no. So apparently that's going to be okay. The other apparently moment is, green goes with everything in my wardrobe. So I have been wearing the Virgo sweater an indecent number of times this week. In progress, the Stash Toss 2025. The count is 87 in and 136 out because I got to take out 7 for the Virgo sweater. And that sure is making me happy. Okay, meanwhile, I have worked on nothing except the Cocoa Strange Brew, a little row or two on the Coral Strange Brew, and I've been planning another cowl in Fair Isle because I want to look at colors together using the leftover Virgo yarn. Now, if you look in the show notes, you will also see a picture of the graph paper on which I am playing around with the patterns that I want to put on the yoke of the Cocoa Strange Brew. It is not a perfect rendition. On the middle band, I made it a little too high on one side, but you'll get the idea that it's 3 rows of leaves, and at the very bottom, they're larger. But I'm playing around with those, and meanwhile, I am starting a cowl where I'm just sort of freehanding some snowflake and pine bough patterns for use with the leftover yarn from my Virgo sweater. So you can see my games there. I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do for the Fair Isle collar on the Coral Strange Brew. I think I'm probably going to revert to some of those same motifs I used on the first cowl I made. Okay, meanwhile, I have not done a darn thing with my quilt squares. I am starting to look at joining together a bunch of the squares to start piecing together the top for my log cabin scrap quilt. I do not have all the squares done, but I think it might be more efficient to have the squares I do have done sewn together so they're in one piece. At any rate, we'll see how that goes. It is that time of year. I won't be wearing t-shirts again for a while, and that means over the Thanksgiving break I go through my current batch of t-shirts, decide which ones have had enough, cut them down the sides and across the tops of the shoulders, and throw them in the bin for my future t-shirt quilts. So I may be working on that as well. I'm basically starting my holiday crafting at Thanksgiving because I have so much I want to do. Meanwhile, no spinning. So let's get down to the strategy. Well, since I am starting that time of year, I'm looking at my holiday strategies, as you know from last week, and I'm planning for the clean out. Now that means I've already taken a carton and put it in my closet, and I am throwing things into it that are going to go away. And I realized I have one knitted thing. I made the slip over in the beautiful pale green Malabrigo Rios, and I do not like it. The gauge did not work out well at the top of the chest, and so I was going to just give that away, and I thought, I don't know, will anybody like it? So instead, I actually realized I'm probably going to pull that out and recycle the yarn, so we will see. But I do have a box in the closet, and every day I will go in there and throw one thing in the box. Now, I used to give these to GiveBackBox at givebackbox.com. Unfortunately, it doesn't work anymore. If you go to that page, what you get are a bunch of links to other charities and a link to how to prepare a box, but it doesn't look like Kohl's is taking the boxes anymore. The links right now are leading around in circles or leading to nowhere. So I think GiveBackBox is history, and I'm going to miss it. You certainly can't print the shipping label at this time. If it comes back, I'll tell you, I'll keep an eye on it closer to the holidays. So it is time to look for other local donation charities. Remember, Goodwill makes money off your stuff and has a rather bloated corporate top tier. Salvation Army pays to use electroshock therapy on homosexuals. So those are two I won't be giving to. But you can donate your leftovers to local thrift stores from groups you like, churches, food banks, or whatever. So please be on the lookout for those. And GiveBackBox.com does have a link to local charities to which you can donate, and also the kinds of things they want apart from money. And so the link is in the show notes under the words, so here is that link. Now, don't forget while you're doing this to clean out your pantry. Stick a box in your pantry and all those canned things that you haven't been eating, one a day, fill a box, give it to your local food pantry. Now, do also remember, I list Goodwill as a place you can take your clothing, if you're okay with that. But remember, also, Goodwill throws out things they think people won't buy. So if you can get over the aspect of the bloated upper tier at the executive level, okay. But remember, if you send stuff to Goodwill, they'll put it in the trash. So before you do that, look for fabric recycling in your community if you can find it. Meanwhile, what about your yarn? Well, it's a good time of year to plan a few projects and then share your extras. You can do all sorts of yarn trading on Reddit, on Facebook. You can give it to a local charity who will sell it at a thrift store or whatever. How about amigurumi? Do you really need all those little toys you made? Or should some of them just go to a homeless shelter or a domestic violence shelter where kids can have them? While you're at it, don't forget to go through all those extra little things you knitted when you had too much yarn left over. So I will be going through my hats collection and getting rid of the ones that we just don't wear. Fingerless mitts, any gloves you knitted or crocheted you want to get rid of, socks. Homeless shelters and domestic violence shelters will like these. So what is the strategy this week? It is get ready for the holidays by going through your stuff and getting ready to donate what you're not wearing, what you're not using, the toys you don't need, whatever. Oh shoot, I am running again. Now this week I haven't been because it's been pouring rain to the level of mud that it's just not worth it. It's going to be a little bit dangerous out there for me. Now I can run myself down to Santa Clarita and try and run on their bike trails. It's asphalt. That's great. But I usually don't have the time to do that. So nothing much. I do have a turkey trot coming up in 10 days. Yay. Meanwhile, you can find your old running shoes and donate them to One World Running or Souls for Souls. If you have old athletic medals, We Finish Together will take those. I know this is actually a part of the strategy, and I'm slipping it into aw shoot. Fortunately, you people are tolerant. At any rate, you can see a list of my upcoming races. Let's get on to the fluffy books, shall we? I'm really running on my last battery here. In the fluffy books, a lot of action because I've been locked in all week. So I finished The Keeper of Magical Things, and I finished The Seventh Bride. These are two absolutely wonderful books. The links are in the show notes. I can't recommend them enough. They both were so entertaining, so interesting, and unique. I then got the latest in the Legends and Lattes series, Brigands and Bread Knives. I really recommend this. I listened to it straight through. I could not turn it off. It is read by the author, I believe it's Travis Baldree, and he knows who these characters are. It is not what you think it's going to be. The bread knives are not what you're expecting, believe me. It is a lot of fun. It has a wonderful theme at the end. It's very, very interesting. It's very heartfelt. It's very sweet. It's very wonderful. And I also finished A Highly Courageous Adventure by Lynn Messina. I've talked about this before. This is one of the Flora Hyde Clare books. It's a lot of fun. Flora comes off as a little more shrewd than she used to be. In other words, Messina's letting her grow up a little, but she still is charmingly daffy at times. If you're going to read Lynn Messina, definitely you want to read the Beatrice Hyde Clare series. and the Flora books that are sort of interspersed. And then the related series is Verity Lark. And I'm okay with Verity Lark, but she's not my favorite character. Altogether, the 3 series will keep you very entertained and give you a lot of reading. Currently, I am now listening to Assistant to the Villain. This is interesting. It started, I believe, as just random chapters on TikTok and got published. It is very snarky funny. It is very unbelievable, but yet it has this weird charm that keeps me with it. So there's a series she just put out, or she's bringing out the 4th book, Adversary to the Villain. I believe it's Assistant, Apprentice, and I can't remember the 3rd one, and then Adversary to the Villain. Something I really like. So in something I really like, I'm going to go back to the podcast, the video podcast, A Lovely Yarn, and there is a link to that in the show notes, and it takes you to the YouTube page. And I've been roaming her episodes for her pattern suggestions, as I mentioned, because she tends to publish groups on Ravelry that are very helpful. So, happily, last week she added a new one, and it's basically scrappy projects from the kind of minis that you get with an Advent yarn kit. I really like that because I no longer will buy Advent kits. Every time I buy one, I get 3 colors I like and about 12 that, no, I'd never wear. And these go really, really well in small, scrappy projects. You can hide that hideous shade of green that makes you look like you've got some liver problem. You can hide that in among the beautiful stuff, if you do one of these mixed projects. And so she has helpfully given us a list of those. And the really nice thing is this could easily degenerate into a list of shawls. And in the beginning, that's what I thought. Here we go, shawls, striped socks. But I really didn't think that because I have a lot of faith in this podcaster. She does a really good job. And yeah, she gets down to cardigans and sweaters and some really, really interesting projects. So if you go to the show notes, you will see a link called Scrappy Projects from Advent Yarn Minis. And I would really suggest you go and do those. Meanwhile, in the project back episodes on Proton, we are still featuring episodes 1 through 50 in a compressed format of the new series of this podcast. So they will be up till the end of this month, which, yes, next week, while you're all stuffing turkey, I will be compressing episodes 51 through 100. I have not yet, I don't believe I have added the episodes from our listener who said she had them. I realize that is a project I'm probably going to have to take on next week as well. Meanwhile, on we go to put a lid on it, which is a big flat nope. On to the blather. Hey, Gemma, you're going fast. Yeah. I don't have a lot this week because I'm really using about a 10-day week here. And it's been pouring. And as you can tell, I've basically been knitting and listening to books. However, Thursday, a week ago today, it had not started raining. I had 2 just awful meetings Thursday morning. I mean, just awful. I was so wound up, I canceled my patients because I just could not go on. I was so overwrought. And I thought, wow, that's unusual for me. So I took a mental health day and I ran away to Glendale on the train. And it was such a good idea. So you can see a picture of my Starbucks cup there. I did not get one of the reusable red cups. I just have a red cup there. And it's in front of the train window and we're watching the skyline go by on probably the last unmiserable day we've had since then. And you betcha I went down to Starfish Sushi and just comforted myself. And even the woman at Starfish Sushi said, you look exhausted. And I said, you have no idea how glad I am to be here. And then I went across to the little knittery where I don't know if I even bought anything. Needles. I got some needles. And then after that, of course, I did go to work on Friday last week. And then on Saturday, I took a day off. I sat at home and I drank hot drinks and I listened to the rain hit the window and the heater roaring in the corner of the bedroom suite. And I just knitted with Minerva in my lap much of the time. And I drank my wonderful tea and I knitted and knitted. And And then Sunday it kept doing that, and the knitting wasn't as much fun. So I took a brief ramble around Santa Clarita because I foolishly thought the rain was letting up. No, it wasn't. But that did not stop me from having a salad over at The Habit. I can eat their Cobb salad if I'm careful with the dressing. And then I believe I went to Barnes & Noble, bought nothing, strange but true, and then went home and again sat down and just knitted and crafted. Having said that, you can see the usual links to the LGBTQIA plus Lifeline and also to the information about helping people who are being harassed by ICE. You can see my links to the community resources, and you can see my calendar. And this weekend, I just had another horrendous day today, and I'm pushing through till the weekend. It's just a few ugly weeks at work. I'm not going to go into the reasons. It's just a huge amount of upheaval on the job right now, because that happens from time to time, and it's okay. But meanwhile, I am going to the SoCal Fiber Fair this weekend with our own Loretta 1031. I'm going to need it. We're spending the night there at the Fairplex at the Sheraton, and I'm going to need it. I'm really going to need it. So anybody who wants to find me there, I'm great for lunch or dinner. We're going to get there for a very late lunch, though. It's a long time on the train and the bus. Meanwhile, I do have off next week from the 27th through the 30th. Thank you, heaven. Thank you, thank you. And then you can see the upcoming events. It's very exciting to me that I have 2 turkey trots. Only one of them is on there. The Evolution Conference from the 15th to the 18th, and then Christmas break the next week, which I need to add there. And then you can see my races and everything leading up to November 14th, 2026, which will be CFR 12. Here in the fastest episode I think I've ever done, Minerva gets the last word. And there is Minerva. She is enjoying the luxury of my queen-size bed. And Minerva would like you to know that she has been curled up warm and snug for the last week in all this rain. And Minerva would say to you, well, what else do I need? A snuggly bed, hot drinks, podcasts, good listeners, another flood warning, darn it, knitting, crocheting, a ton of projects, a whole lot to create. What else do we need? So as we all turn our faces towards the oncoming winter, Minerva would like you to focus on the comforts of your life at home as best you can. Minerva says this because she knows we are one cozy community here at Cognitive, and she wants you to remember that when we work for the good of the community, we are working for the good of the individuals. Having said that, everybody, stay safe, take care of each other, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So we have come to the end of another episode of Cognitive. Please do not use this podcast to diagnose yourself. If you think you are having a mental health problem, please contact a licensed mental health professional. Show notes for these episodes can be found at cognitivepodcast, all one word, .blogspot.com. Episodes can be found at iTunes under the name Cognitive Podcast, but also can be found posted next to the show notes on the Blogspot page. Thank you so much for listening. Everybody, stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.